Hey mamas, it's Krista Noel, founder of the Intuitive Divorce, and I'm popping on here straight after class with my beautiful team member, Master Coach Joe Young. And we just had another action-packed class that I wanted to pop in here and share. We built this class around this notion of creating scaffolding, supportive scaffolding around your divorce and your life and your future and your emotional healing journey and anything and everything that you need support with. And, as a former New York City girl, you couldn't walk down a city sidewalk without being surrounded by various buildings that were covered in scaffolding. So imagine that whenever there's construction or deconstruction or a life facelift, there's protective scaffolding or supportive, nurturing scaffolding around it while it's in its sort of tender phase, while it needs that extra oomph, while this process is unfolding. And it's the same applies here to you going through your divorce, navigating changes, navigating anxiety, overwhelm, big decisions, triggering events, communications, your children, just your own big feelings and the big, vast unknown. It's a lot. Yes, we know it's a lot. So, we brought that into class today and we used it as this great metaphor of asking moms, what did they need in this moment? What did they need to support where they are today, right here, with what's going on, with what's on their plate? And I'm just going to, put a pin in that for a second to say the beautiful thing about scaffolding is that what you need today isn't necessarily what you're going to need tomorrow or in a year or 5 years from now. And when this process is over, when the reconstruction is done, it's like, guess what? The scaffolding comes down and you're standing there and you no longer need it. But it is okay right now, right here, in the mess of it all, to ask for support, to be aware of where am I being triggered? Where do I feel vulnerable? Where could I use some support? So we just dove into that and we had the juiciest, most wonderful conversation because, once again, in this container, mamas come, they keep it raw, they keep it real. They don't need to edit themselves. They have a safe space to just let it out, to let it rip, and to process. And there's nothing more important than that, so that you don't go through this alone. You don't need to do this in isolation.
Yeah, it was a great class today. And it's always so interesting when themes pop up. And it seems like, even we had one mom today say that. She was like, it's always it ends up being exactly what I needed to hear. There's always some kind of common theme. And you're right, Kristen. I mean, the scaffolding we build around ourselves is so important to help build the infrastructure of what we're building, to help, create the support when we have wobbly legs, so to speak. And the first way we do that is by getting really clear about where in this moment do I actually need support? Because without that, you're kind of all over the place, right? But when
Mhm.
you can narrow down what it is that you need, it's pretty easy to go, okay, now let's brainstorm some things that can help get you there.
Mhm.
And those are the ways that we put our scaffolding together. It's one little piece at a time. It doesn't just all go up in an instant. It's like, oh, yeah, I need this right now, or I need that right
Mhm.
now. And we build this beautiful structure to hold everything in place.
Right. And the conventional narrative of divorce says run out, get an attorney, a financial advisor, co-parenting counsel, all of that. And listen, you're going to need all of that. You're going to need advisement. You're going to need strategy. You're going to need tools. You're going to need, you know, you're going to need a team, but they're not going to be with you at home. You can't bring any of those people home to sit around your dining room table or your kitchen table when you're feeling triggered, when you're in the in-between moments, when you're all up in your feelings with your kids and there's some explosive situation. So this is why we ask you to get clear, like not hide behind the attorney. The attorney alone can't solve your problems. This is where you really get clear. You get calm. You calm your nervous system so that you can hear your voice, so that you can hear your intuition, so that you can make decisions that you trust, so that you can just like reclaim your life again. You can heal and reclaim your life, but it cannot happen unless you can just get still and clear about what's happening, what am I feeling, what's going on, what do I need right here in this moment. That's not a question that anybody else can answer. It's going to look very different to everyone. Like we were talking about in class today. For some people, that's getting quiet, that's sitting in stillness. For other people, that might be running, or it might be actually being in community. It's going to look different for all of us, and that's okay. There's no judgment here. But it is really critical to ask yourself what you need. What would help me get through this day? What's going to help me show up for my kids, show up for these conversations, show up for these big decisions?
Yeah, it's so true. And we say all the time that awareness is the breakthrough. Once
Hmm.
you know what you need, getting there and asking for the support is what we're here for, is what we teach. And I loved what you said about, we can rely on our attorneys and people rely on their friends, or sometimes it's people from church, sometimes it's people in their friend group, sometimes it's family, but you're going to get all kinds of advice from all different people. And the bottom line is what's important to know is that you have your own answers.
Hmm.
While other people are awesome to have around, you're in the middle of this, and maybe you don't want to recount your details of every story to everyone. And so, how do you start to tap into your own wisdom, to tap into your own knowledge? Because no one else is your guru. You're your own guru, right? You
Hmm.
have your own answers. So, when we can get still, when we can listen to our intuition about what it is we need, then it becomes pretty easy. I mean, we had one mom today who was giving some examples about wanting to show up as the co-parent very differently, and she was kind of waiting for permission to do that, when all along she's known what she really needed to do was build the support so that she could step in and do that on her own, that
Hmm.
she didn't need anyone else's permission, that
Hmm.
she really knew deep down already what needed to happen, how she could make those shifts in her life. And so that's the best part, is that when you build the support around you, it gives you the confidence to know that, hey, wait a second, I actually built this support. I know what I'm doing,
Hmm.
right? And I do know who I can reach out to in moments where it's needed.
Hmm. Yeah. And again, it is temporary. So what you need today, you might not need tomorrow. And if you need to shut down communication with everybody, not everybody gets a VIP all access pass to you. You don't
Mhm,
owe everybody an explanation. You don't
mhm,
have to share all the details of what's unfolding. I honestly find it very interesting. I mean, we've all been guilty of this at some point in our lives where we just keep going, turbocharged, and we don't take the time to just even sit in and sink into the simplest of questions, like what do I need right now? What would feel better? What do I need to let go of or just say no to right now? Or where do I need to set a boundary? Like we just bypass that so quickly. And so sometimes when we ask the simplest of questions, they're the most difficult for mamas to answer because they're so used to showing up for their kids and their communities and their spouses and their families and their jobs and everything else. So this is actually about getting really simple. And it's not something to be saved for later because doing this right now, creating this calm, this stillness, this awareness, this allowing in your life right now, right here, will transform the entire experience and outcomes of your divorce. And every mom in that container in our class, they're showing up, they're scheduling it into their busy calendars. They're at work. They got to pop in, they got to pop out. Sometimes they're in airports, sometimes they're in hotels, sometimes they're all on business trips, whatever it is. Sometimes they're in their cars. We actually had a mom call in who was way on the West Coast. And it was like the crack of dawn, and it was still dark, and she was in her car, and the sun was rising, and, on the horizon. I was like, this is such a beautiful metaphor of showing up for yourself. And so that's really what it looks like. And Showing up for yourself now in the midst of this is going to change everything. That's scaffolding. That's scaffolding around your life, your divorce, your kids, all that matters most to you. And it allows you to actually calm yourself to the point where you can think clearly, move through your decisions, and really start to lean on hope and the belief that I am creating a better future and I'm moving into a better chapter. I'm writing this right now and I'm cutting a lot of the chaos out and I'm setting up some boundaries. And you're never going to regret that.
It's so true. And I love today when we talked about what kind of scaffolding did you feel like you needed when you first signed up and said yes to this group? And everyone across the board was like exactly what this group has provided, which is, a place to show up and be real, a place to be supported, a
Mhm.
place full of resources. I mean, the resources, not only what we provide, but what they provide each other has
Mhm.
been priceless.
The friendships are
Just the
amazing, aren't
space,
they?
the friendship, yeah, the heart, we say all the time, sometimes we end up laughing, sometimes we end up crying, most times we do both all in the same
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah. Because that's life in divorce, right?
Because it's life in general,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
certainly through divorce where all of it is welcome. And I think that's the piece that is so refreshing. And the first piece of scaffolding can be, where can I find a place to just show up and be authentically me, to
Hmm.
feel heard, to
Hmm.
feel seen, to know that how I feel matters, to know that what I want matters. Where can I do that? And that's what this group provides. So
Yeah.
I love that across the board today, they were like 100% that this was a piece of their scaffolding. And whether it is us or whether it is something else that you need, I know that that's what we want for you, is to not feel like you have to do any of this alone, that you can ask for support, that you can ask for what you want and need because you matter. You are the center point, not only of your life right now going through divorce, but your future.
Mhm.
You're it. So
Yeah.
get the
And you know
support
what?
that you need.
Someone else brought up that she was mentioning that her sister is getting a divorce, but her sister is not a mother with children. And divorce is divorce, but divorce with children really is a whole other ball of wax, right? So it's like you really want to surround yourself by people who have walked in those shoes so that you can really learn from their experiences. It's just beautiful what happens in that container. And
Yeah.
so, as you so beautifully said, community is everything. It really is everything, and there's no need to suffer in silence. And I got to tell you something. The other thing that's so gorgeous is that they rally around each other and hold each other accountable. And not in a like a punishing way, like, did you do your homework? No, it's more of like being a dream keeper. We're holding space for your dreams to come true. And that is possible. And there's a lot that you've got to do in your divorce that you might not want to do, like showing up and doing all that paperwork and showing up for court dates, whatever. But this is all a part of the process to your freedom. And I got to tell you something, there is a better path to a better divorce, and it's an intuitive divorce. And the moms that are leaning into that are divorcing smarter, they're healing faster, they're protecting their kids. And you know what? They're reclaiming their lives. And that's what we really want for you. So we just wanted to pop on here today. We hope that you're a part of our community, that you check us out at Intuitive Divorce, our website, where you can access all of our social media and our podcasts and our apps and lots of tools and strategy. We put out a lot of information to support you each week. And we'd also love to hear from you. And if you're curious about learning more about the container, make sure that you watch our webinar, which is on the website, intuitivedivorce.com, but book a call. Book a call and find out if this is the fit for you. So we just want to leave you with this little nugget of considering where you need to put some scaffolding around yourself right now. Where could you use some support today? And for yourself, for your divorce, and for your future.
Yeah. And we're just one phone call away.
We
So
are
if it's
one phone
us,
call away.
pick up the phone.
Exactly. 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 What a great class. It was so
Yeah,
beautiful.
it really was. It really was. Each and every week, I'm just blown away.
I know.
And the moms in the group are just incredible women. And to be a part of their future building, their dream keeping is amazing.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah,
best job in the world.
it sure
Best,
is.
best
And
job,
that I get
right?
to do it with you.
I know. You too. You too.
All
Thank
right.
you, Joe.